Yeah, but shibidi shiba ba 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 shiba yudi. Oh, wait, 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 wait. Oh, wait, wait. Shiba shiba ba ba. Oh, wait, 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 wait. Aura, 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 aura. Aura, 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 anything. And yeri, at any time, at any time, at any time. Explaining narrative number 7. I got to the train station and the train was gone. I got to the train station and the train. I got to the train station and I got to the train station and I got to the train station. I got to the train station. I got to the train. I got to. Watching broadcast news, I was the other night and I saw the salmon talks will continue on Monday, and I thought to myself, well, thank God the salmon are still talking. In summer, our lagoon is moved into us, only that is a season of olive smell and hot moss. We are not only images coming together, bone, word, and candle. We don't do this to know each other. We slide from our covering husks into pith, darkness of oval, tap our heels on dice, take off our shells, living on the song and the salmon-berry breezes, breathing on life. Our gold horses running faster, faster, faster in this amazing caravan, rings of smiling almonds, rings of starry skies. Oh, hover, sing and dance as we careen through the mountain passes, through many vortices, running, 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 faster, faster than the Cossacks can come upon us. Faster, faster than any village wind, 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 wind. What was it? It's far behind us. We don't know. We're all here on such a cinder sled, the mind looking for things to worry about, to give us significance. I don't know, but some things are real for sure. I'm mindful of the turnaround in the reincarnation center, getting there, getting there. If we stayed here long enough, would everyone we've ever known show up? The sound of writing, fingers moving across time and space, making codes and signs, signals, calligraphic marks. Is life almost indescribable? Almost, and yet the possibilities for happiness are amazing. Finding true love by the river and finding sometimes the love within, without spells of hauntingness, obsession, deep tragedy and sorrow, knowing, unknowing, knowing, keep going on, at least in what they used to call the realms of the heart, texting, I font and don't know. Going in with it, whatever's possible, possible. In the moraine, in the moraine tangle, and currents can bring disaster, can come in sharp, fast, being yes-matics can give perspective, understanding as the setting are so often changing. A reverie, serenity, adventure, praises for the particulars and particles and moments the words are wanting to emulate, resonate, keep on, virtual hugging, virtual loving, keep on, letting for the long recovery. Maybe this journey is. Watching the dragons in the sky jump, watching the dragons in the sky love, watching the dragons in the sky laugh, watching the dragons in the sky go, oh, why we? You love some people very much. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Some people love you very much. They're not always the same people. There's a spell. Full moon in Scorpio, you feel alone. It's a spell. Pray, however you do that, breathe in, breathe out. For all the millions of people going to spirit all over the world, put them in the light. However you do that, so they don't feel so alone. I'm doing that tonight. Golden star, floating galaxy, mushroom dreams. If you feel unloved and left out of something, the spell is our worry about all the people going to spirit. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathing out. Your breath is the candle. In the darkness, the light softly sing to them with. The moon turns us in the soil. The fire burns us in the wheel. The bones and the hot men cure and start again. Watching the dragons in the sky jump. Watching the dragons in the sky love. Watching the dragons in the sky come. Watching the dragons in the sky go, oh, strange and true. My acceptance varies. For Naomi Loffer, Marie Day, and Murray Loffer, mostly deaf, I'm okay, deaf. As days passed, each rondo, rondelay, round road booked and melting aware of, how much I'm missing and how much I'm gaining. We all heard that before, but I'm not touchdowning in all the promised or arranged places. Today I would have been somewhere there or over in that place. Same with you, huh? Changing aces. Drama is narratives. Who didn't think it would somehow change? And another chance, and where it stops. Was it really a wheel? No one knows. It's a beautiful new day. What can you say? Last night before sunset, an eagle up in the sky, flying in amazing shapes, soars, and another eagle appears, flying together. And then two more, so high up, swooping through each other. In the air, they're coming toward our house. And two more eagles join them, doing lofty, huge shapes high over our house here. We call out, others come see, and we're all looking up at the sky, at the now 6 eagles heading over the river toward the higher part of Gold Mountain. And we all blessings full forever, some upliftment from the floating, wondering why, and who's to love. And in this maybe long pandemic, and still there, sky, in this time of more unknowns than knowns, the buds are slow to come out this year. It's only turning warmer now. But did you ever see 6 eagles flying together so high ever before? Maybe we don't need destination Y so much. Did you ever see 6 eagles flying together so high in the sky? We listen to the magic voices, soothing our minds. The loons and the sky cry out to the feathery air. And the night is softer and softer. Excellent, that's Poland. There is so much Poland in the air. Softer and softer still, and more there where we are. Melting in the air. Ocean mama, mama, see la da da ba ma. Ocean mama, I let the thing was you. Excellent. Letting go of learned behavior. Meditations from Gold Mountain. Ref, the abstraction of language. 32. The ramshackle witness could only say, fingers and toes, merengue, clapping each horse, was it? And the thunder races through the circuitry. And the memories of the awareness stinging, and yet never seen a night this dark. Someone attested, and the clovers ran bloody instead of hung to dry. For the tractor show next day, the injury of letting all the mosquitos in for the night. And some of these bites I could build a house inside of. And that voice again soaring through the border and the boards and walls of this ancien building. Was it from the big band era, you know, and the cellophane wrappers jettisoned, the celery and the pink celery? It's just another side of life. And that's how God made honky-tonk angels, Rosebriar. At the afternoon, the chorus of forgetting and life standards. Wipe your shoes off, and in the morning, the memory of being flooded with mosquitoes sitting on that rock with a pearly sheen and fool's gold to it, wrapping the protester ribbon round tow trucks by the harbor. Million, what to do without blame. Did you find the entry form map and the information of them cradled up and the stairs and me appearing in a dream to him, all the skeleton, no flesh, a saying, how lucky they were to have each other, that I didn't have that. I did think I did for a while, but I really didn't, and I really don't. And the mirage shifts and is continually floating molecularly, waterly, through moments, a second, a secunda, a momenta, but I did, and they phoned and wanted to know if I was okay. I was fine. To hear from so off the line and off the grid, and the dolls that tomorrow we haven't met yet, are they already inside us, sliding with Raymond's embossed essay on loss and self-fortitude? Whisper, the wake ache. We can only treat the impasse with ... Who was ... Dorothea of the evening breezes, her voice running with the nighttime winds, nestling in the soft branches, singing and sustaining a high note, quivering through the early moonbeams, spattering and mooring lights through the changing river, and people's voices by the great fire in the back, another golden night. Her voice, the singing whisper of the galaxy, runs through us all. Our skins enthralling, threads within threads, strings within strings, splendid dissolving, reappearing in changing guises, dissolving and reappearing again, never holding for long. for long, the music of really everyone. Continuing everywhere, the song, yet straining into the tallest sky, where forever, presumably, no answer lies. Most of these poems I'm reading and doing sound stuff with are from my fairly new book, just a year ago, Breath, from Talon Books. Breath, The Trees of Lunaria. Lunaria I am from originally, and I came here on Earth through an earthly mother, and because all the oxygen ran out in Lunaria. I was on the first children's shuttle out of Lunaria, and thankfully have had so much good luck here on Earth, and some tragic misunderstandings. And I was born in an imperfect body, like many people, so I've had many surgeries on almost all my organs, and I know this is a beautiful Stephen Sondheim song, I'm Still Here. I think of that sometimes as I'm just recovering from now a double vitrectomy and a lens exchange in my left eye. And each day I see more. I can see the screen now. I can't see what's in it yet, but 2 weeks ago, I couldn't see anything in this room with this left eye. So I do experiments on it every day, and it's improving. So I often write stuff like that to people, how are you doing? So I describe a surgery I've had, whatever. I've had chemo, who hasn't, and I've had brain surgery. Always good, because recently a lot of us got realigned here while we're still on Earth. Did you feel the realignment? I felt it so strong up here on Gold Mountain very recently. So I wrote this to someone. I just got to hawk into something. And I'll take that sock off later, don't worry. It's my Kleenex, the sock. Okay, excellent. Letter to someone. From Mr. Neanderthal, who fell to his knees from his astonishment of the emerging and huge light in the zebra afternoon sky. Hope you are having excellent days and nights. Some pat on the head, some raison d'etre, but there's a loophole, the headache of it all. And another letter said, wishing you acceptance, self-realizing dreams, breaths, and the touch of everything. Wonder fills your amazing present. What you don't need, let go of. Serenade letters for stringed accompaniment, timpani, horns, and piano, now and always, especially as in along with, as well as, and each beat, and wonderment cascading bliss, and seeing through the sometimes opaque mist, and everything, and oboe, through the gold spheroid opening, listening. A blue hearin appears, holding an arrow, saying, come, this way softly, and the drum and guitar also feeds this passage to the green and gold marshlands. Even the diamond-studded night ride in this enveloping sky. Let's go to the room with no time and no walls, or floor or windows or ceiling. What did you say? More cleaning. Tomorrow, there was no time for almost a week. Have you had weeks like that? And then time returned, and you wonder, did you want it to return? Is that okay? Go with that. Keep on keeping on. What can you do? Time is back. And assignments and goals. And we can meet with, again, at the Mystic Muffin, South on Jarvis in Toronto, and in the South, and it's everywhere. And the describable moments totally dissolve, always to a new scene, another mise en scène as well, and such reappears again somewhere else, so far away. Always like the image of the huge freezer trucks parked behind the hospitals in NYC to store and transport the bodies piling up. And thoughts, well, self-isolating. Can we isolate the self like another virus or a gene? The self, is it created something the modernists concocted? Some said like a realistic dream sequence, wanting this, not wanting that, choosing, selecting? Is that the self paradigm? Or is the self something? Or that's always many levels, that's been with us, created and self-creating, relational and contextual and replenishing like a rare lake or stream, the marrow and the fleshy theme pool schemes and reactions on the bones, covering those with narratives, drenched in narratives, dramas, visions, and life-breathing lines. Tell them about it. The costuming, what can save us? Not so much the melody and litanies of turf songs and parodies of some sweeping reach, deaf, universal, single-payer health insurance available to everyone. That's definite. We all take care of each other. Tax reform, we can do it. We're smart. We can pull it together without more disasters and tragic stuff going on, screaming people's lives, ruining because they can't get health. And we are all taken care of. We can do it, easy. Each one of us is. No one is more deserving of health and life care than anyone else is. No more brutal entitled class systems. We can afford everyone to be okay. The hand makes holding onto a branch in the water, the dream in all our union and separateness of being self-independent and one creature and infinitely many-faceted. Take care of each other, infinitely many creatures, and time, a branch in the water, held out to each of us, the dream. Who's calling? The trouble with hierarchies, the trouble with theocracies, the trouble with oligarchies, the trouble with plague, famine, and war. It's never finished. Those are all a part of each other. Have a heart. Mr. Neanderthal sings the trouble with oligarchies, and the light in the next afternoon sky became brighter and brighter and overtakes everything. Astral traveling also is the way to go. Mr. Neanderthal mused in the nothing to explain or describe. He asked, where did that blue heron go? The fate of bugs on a windshield is harsh. What if that's you? Do you worry about bugs on a windshield and what happens to them? Would you want to be one of them? Reincarnation blues? Help, help. Those bugs on a windshield might have a soul too. Help, help, help. It's not easy without an immune system. Gone, you, gone. I do not know who I must be. If the next blood work is great, then there'll only be 2 more weeks of the interferon, AZT, and a pegatron, etc. A treatment. Oh, that's a reference to the book I'm working on now. It's a sailor's life, still in treatment. Meditations from Gold Mountain. So I've read a lot of poems from the book I'm working on now, but mostly from my new book, from Talon Books, Breath, The Trees of Lunaria. And I hope you're enjoying everything. I'll just read a few more minutes. I have no idea how long I've read for. You ever do something you have no idea, like there was no time present, like no clock on the wall? Like, so excellent. I've done 15 weeks, 7 more weeks otherwise to go, no big deal, especially when I can do things, sometimes I can't. My apartment is now infested with some kind of bug, the itching and scratching beyond belief. I'm expecting locusts next week for tea. I banned drama around me with the friends freaking, and doing that hasn't helped at all. They're still doing espionage and screaming. I'm getting into it. I haven't lost my sense of humor. I find the reservoir deep inside me. I'm having trouble to keep on keeping on. I do the laundry, bed sheets, take the little shiny green pills again and again. and the other pink ones, white and blue and self-inject. My only question is, will I have enough tea for locusts? Avocado, avocado, do you remember how you felt when he said that? Are you looking at him? Sluice, yes, all the amazing days, and a melding, a streaming, a tippering, riverine, leadening, stretching out inside, and the falling snow everywhere, and the train going over the trestle time, Hank Williams, and never ever wanting to go. If everything was really my choosing, deep breathing, and into the feathery river, and no more crying, and be happy or spreading wings, be to get there and tucking them in for dinner there, and the round hall performance left up. Yes, Maddox, remember holding it into your palm, and how it moves there, and the melding and letting the harmonies, clothing the wreck, the vessels of hopes and dreams, and clambering for to see each other again and hear. Do you remember memory? What's that about if that's how she saw me? Why didn't in the emerald parameters of bung and Ashula singing, swinging up on her rafters, leaning on the balustrade, leaning on the pentacle, taken in the sunshine, and the ship coming in, or is it a fiery eagle, an angel on flame, or a starfish that hugely entangling us up on the rafters, leaning over the balustrade, leaning over the pentacle, taken in the sunshine, and the ship coming in? Or is it a fiery Oshaba, aura, hugely entangling, clearing a deed swirl, and spring it doesn't want to do, and fused us, or fuss, which in the stairs. To his place, and realize that the dots often aren't connecting. Do I go forward to him again? Can you explain the purpose of this journey? Why am I lost? Why are there clothing everywhere hanging from the sky? What is the purpose of this enigma, this temporary and hope not painful confusion? The magic cat in the taxi, so smoothing men over each time, and all our lives replete, and all the singing in the sky with elasticity, neuroelastin, pleasing, Elises, pleases, pasta, sardonica, and the winter seeds, even this creamy nauticals you can grow beyond longing. Yeah, you can. You can grow beyond haunting. Yeah, you can. She said, a seeming stress, a screed, a river, the bridge, Lisa Palala over the flood of Sardinia. On the other side, the sink, a hole, how far down, and her needles in the image, and a sleeping, shaping brush color, and catching, Allah, shibboleth, a passing, a longing, the midnight dreams, and I dreamed I jumped off the silver bridge, and swam, a breaststroke I did, and then the crawl to a new shore I'd never seen before. I've ever seen before. And the script were all eaten by a dog. The newspaper with the news of tomorrow, the news of next week. We didn't get there yet. Now do we know it? No, the unknowns are outweighing the knowns. I went inside, and the magic cat was waiting for me into a log cabin I'd never been to before. And he made a wonderful fuss, and we hugged and laid down by the river in an easy seam, and they go mindlessly inside the garden to continue the dream. What was he thinking before the next lap? So we'll out with the brain changing and lift the roof of the brain each night during sleep. They need a new alignment. They really a little tweaking here, and loosen some of the neural pathways, and tighten others that might need more of them. It's really on the continuing the dream, the eye again to continue the dream. What was I thinking to say before the next lapse? That I don't know. ow. Is it all right if I say, oh, I don't know? I said, is it all right if I say, oh, I don't know? I said, shibili, 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 all the stars falling from the skies, all the skies falling from our eyes, and the crimson ice in the shibili, and the sun gleams as I sank further into this wintry reverie, hearing all our voices, exclaim, 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 exclaiming shibili, shabada, shibili, and all the stars falling from the skies, and all the voices are falling from our eyes, and I know shibili, shibili, and his arms around him, and all the rain coming in, his arms around him, and all the rain coming in, his arms around him, and all the sweet rain coming in, his arms around him, and all the sweet rain coming in, her arms around her, and all the sweet rain coming in, her arms around her, and all the sweet rain coming in, her arms around her, and all the sweet rain coming in, her arms around her, and all the sweet rain coming in, coming in, coming in, ha ha ha, all my arms around you, and all the rain coming in, his arms around her, and all the rain coming in, his arms around her, and all the rain coming in, all the sweet blessed rain are coming so far in, his arms around her, and all the sun coming in, his arms around her, and all the sun coming in, her arms around him, and all the moon coming in, her arms around him, and all the sweet moon coming in, all my arms around you, and all my love coming true by the river, all my arms around you, and all my love coming true, all my arms around you, and the sweet rain coming in, all my arms around you, and the sun and moon, and the stars are coming in, coming in, coming in, the river we're in, the river we're in. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the little reading here on top of Gold Mountain. Well, it's almost the top. And what's happening now?
That was, wow, Bill, that was just such a gorgeous reading. Thank you so much. That really was what I think we all needed to hear. And I was so, just so.
Thank you, baby. So good to see
thank you. Excellent. Can I go to gallery?
Brilliant to hear that at this moment as well. So by the way, here, ask questions.
I can do.
Oh, you can do, yeah.
gallery.
Yeah. So anyone's welcome to ask questions, either put them in the chat or.
Hi, everybody.
Or
oh
just...
my God, Adina. Oh my God.
Hi,
Oh
good morning.
So wonderful. Hi, everybody.
Awesome.
Oh my God, look at you're all so lovely.
Well, thank you. That was beautiful,
God.
Bill. Thank you. Good to hear your voice.
Oh, thank you so much, Ellen. It's great to see you and hear you.
Good to see you too and hear you.
Oh, thank you so
I love
much.
the sweet rain. That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much.
Hi, Bill. It's Shelley in London, Ontario.
I see you, Shelley. You're awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
Excellent. I'm in the little house with the magic cat by the river.
Sounds good. Sounds better than what we're doing here.
The magic cat never woke. He's chilling. I got lots of food in his dish in case he wanted to eat. And we woke up at 6 o'clock this morning, him and me. And it's a gorgeous day. It's going up to probably 37 above Celsius there. That's amazing. I've got bites all over me. They have flying things. They're called, I don't know, flies, I think. And they're giant and they just zoom. They zoom you. Oh my God, zoom, but they zoom you. And I got like scars all over my body from them. It's great. And just go out and it's resplendent. Thousands of them dive bomb you all at once. It's amazing. Yeah.
So, Bill, can you tell us a little bit about the amazing gallery of pictures you have behind you, these paintings that you've been doing at Gold Mountain?
Oh, sure, I'd love to. These paintings behind me, I've been doing here where I am on Gold Mountain since early March, when I came up to live with the Magic Cat and to get approximately 10 paintings ready to take on tours and doing readings in different places. And while I was up here, the pandemic was declared and there was no travel anywhere. And I was still painting, getting ready for the readings. And then all the readings in all directions got all canceled. Some are postponed, but they're getting newly postponed again. And so they could be infinitely postponed. I think different poets have written something about the infinitude of postponement of desire or complete self-realization. A lot of these things seem to be infinitely postponed in a lot of people's writings. There's conversations about that. I remember that when I started reading when I was like, I don't know, 7 or 8. I used to read a lot of books, and I remember that was an idea people had. But so it's an idea that we're actually now experiencing, the infinitude of postponements. And so I'm still here doing the paintings. They're small because I could pack them. They'd be easy to travel and take to readings to show people. Adina Krasik in November and December, she booked me into, I think it was like 9 readings, magic number, love you 9. And
Well
so,
done.
yes, always infinity of totally. And so I took paintings to all those readings and people wanted to have them. So that started me just coming up here doing paintings and going south to Toronto and going to the airport with the paintings and stuff. And that's how I lived for about a long time. But what Adina Karasik introduced me to was like doing, I think, 9 readings in 12 days. We've done that before all through York together too. One time we did 16 readings, 16 cities in 14 and a half days. We were like every effing where you could get to. It was amazing. And we never got tired.
Yeah.
There's something about, and I'll be quiet, but I just had an idea. There's something about doing what you love to do is actually not tiring.
That's so true. That's so true. So does anyone have any questions? Feel
Are
free
you all
to-
excellent, everybody?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
we're
You energized us so much with your reading, sweetheart. It was so lovely. Where is Boo Boo? Can we see Boo Boo? Where's
Yeah,
Boo Boo?
Boo Boo's sleeping by the door.
Good. Okay.
He's curled up.
Okay.
I don't want to wake him.
Of
I
course.
could wake him, couldn't I?
No,
You
no.
want, you want to see him? I
Yeah.
can go get him. I'll go get him. See
No,
if he
no,
wants.
no.
I'll see. Hey, Boo Boo, you want to meet everyone? You want to meet everyone, honey? Do you want to? You can meet Adina. You haven't met Adina before.
We've only talked on the phone, Boo Boo.
Can you see him now?
Oh,
Aww.
hi, Boo Boo.
Hi, Boo Boo. Say hi, Boo
Hi,
Hi,
Boo
Boo
Boo.
Boo. Hi, Boo Boo. Nice cat.
Boo.
Sweet cat.
Pen pals.
He's my best friend.
Aw,
here.
hi, Boo Boo. There's another
He
cat.
tells me
Just like
stories
you.
at night. Sometimes going to bed at night seems strange because it's something I feel that hasn't happened or I haven't done or some haunting thing. And then Boo Boo tells me a story. It relieves all the haunting.
What was that?
Very magical. And if I go too long and I come in, I'm getting stuff and going out and doing a big walk on the mountain stuff. And if I'm out too long, then he goes, when I come in, he goes, well, what the F? Where were you? Why did you be so long? What did you get? What's wrong? You know, you were gone over an hour. That's what the things he says to me. But he tells me a lot about the secrets of the Gold Mountain place.
So Bill, we have a question in the chat, which is from Ashmita. And so Ashmita says, keeping in mind that poetry senses through the soul, do you ever struggle to process or imitate your own thoughts? How do you deal with it?
Struggle or imitate?
Honest
words.
thoughts.
Huh?
Honest thoughts.
Honest thoughts? Where would the struggle be?
I think maybe between that, so the question, just I guess that process, how you process a kind of creating poetry in a way that feels honest and maybe like unmediated, or how you negotiate ideas?
Oh, I think I get it. That's a brilliant, very subtle, many-level question. I guess the way I do it is, some of the ways I do it, I'm shy to use the word I. Some of the ways that happen when I'm writing are to allow many levels, so that if it's about, so like in that last poem I read, there's many levels, so it isn't a codependent lyric in a simple way, because that's only one thought form or one ideational construct, and there's a vast infinity of other constructs that one can enter and play with and inform one as well. So I think what I might answer to that brilliant question is having more than one level going on.
Fantastic, thank you. And can you tell us a little bit, can you talk a little bit about this fantastic book, Breath, which, you know, it's a really sizable book, and it's full of work from across, it's some recent work and some work from across your writing, is that right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's a lot of new work in there. It's from 1957 to 2019. It took about 4.5 years to pull it together. It was like a detective story for me. I would wake up and there would be one poem in my mind for it, and then that would lead to other poems, and I'd be searching through all these books and journals and da-da-da to find the next poem that I was thinking of, but I didn't know where it was yet. And so it was a lot of research and searching. Part of me was a Inspector Clouseau librarian.
Fantastic. Are there any other questions from anyone that they want to put in the chat, or just turn on their audio and ask the question?
Shelley, how are you? Are you excellent?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. And are you staying healthy? Are you as healthy as you
Yeah,
can?
I am. I'm exercising, doing Tai Chi, going for big walks, trying to stay off fat, and doing and meditating every morning.
Well, I've been thinking about you.
Are you staying healthy and rocking that way? I
am. I'm mostly home. I'm working from home, and it's just me and my cat. So, like you, I have me and my cat.
Isn't it great?
It is great. He's a wonderful companion. So,
Ellen Jaffe, are you excellent? I'm sure I heard Ellen Jaffe's voice.
I am here, yes. I'm here in Toronto, and I actually am excellent, and the reading made me feel better. The reading,
oh my God, thank
sort of
you
new,
so much.
made a lot of new energy and putting in touch with the real world, not only the pandemic world. So that's good. Yeah, so I'm doing well, both in terms of the virus and all the other health issues. So it's great to hear you. Yeah.
I know. They told me just to forget about it and come down when I can get there. They're all like giving me this big latitude. I will do the blood work later. I will do this. It's not so whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm on a new treatment, so I'm a little bit more feeling like T.S. Eliot, the patient, eat their eyes on the table. But
yes,
it's nice to sit in the, it's nice to sit in the sunshine this morning and hear the poetry. So.
Oh, I'm so glad. Are you doing the new drug now?
It's next week, starting next week.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll let you know how that goes.
I got all my fingers crossed.
Thank you. Hopefully it'll be good. And they make these new magic drugs, you know.
Yes.
That's all I can say. So hopefully, hopefully it'll get out of the haunting and into the better magic. Yeah.
I know, coffee. Yes, excellent. I know. Does anyone remember the movie The Haunting? Robert Wise directed it. He did that direction before he did West Side Story, and it starred Claire Bloom, Julie Harris, Rusty Tamblyn, and it was about a gathering of extra normal research people, paranormal, and this house reputed to be haunted, and they had varying degrees of acceptance of, even though it's the field they were in, some didn't accept it, and some thought, well, if it's invisible, it can't do anything to you. and stuff and all kinds of.
Right.
So they went there for like 4 or 5 days together, and different stuff happened.
Mm.
Did anyone see that? It was MGM black and white.
I remember the movie, but I don't remember seeing it. I remember hearing about it.
It's genuine, some very scary sequences where Claire Bloom and Julie Harris's character are in a room and they've closed the door to prevent this strange breathing, screaming voice from coming into the room. But of course, it can go through doors. I know.
Bill, so there's a couple of questions. I think, Jeff, do you
Ellen, it's so great to see you.
Good to see you too. We'll talk soon. And Carol Mallion says hello. She
Oh,
couldn't.
great. Give her
She
my
couldn't
love.
get Zoom. She couldn't get
How's
Zoom,
Roger
but she
doing?
says to
Is he
say
excellent?
Roger's doing good too. Yes,
Oh, great.
both
Excellent.
excellent. Yeah. Anyway,
Oh,
somebody
great.
had a question.
Okay, excellent.
I think there's a question from Jeff maybe, and then there's a couple more in the chat. So Jeff, do you want to go first?
Hi, Bill. I love you. Thanks. That was so beautiful. More on the haunting. So how do you suggest we deal with the paradox of both embracing and fighting the haunting?
For me, meditation helps a lot because part of the goal of meditation is to let go of all thoughts, so that I'm sitting there early morning, haven't eaten, haven't done anything yet. I'm letting go of all thoughts. So if I'm going through a haunting phase or I'm subject to haunting or something at that time, then of course it comes up. And I go, oh my God, that's a thought. I'm here to let it go. It's only a thought. That's one way I deal with it. It is totally paradoxical because if there's something one wants in the haunting experience, and if it comes true, well, then there's no more haunting. Or is there? There might still be some haunting.
Remnant.
I
And
think
there's
it's in human beings that is very moving. It informs a lot of our greatest music, our greatest thinking, searching for the promised land, the kindness and the beautiful humanity in all of us, searching for the promised perfect moment between us all, and everyone is okay.
The saw date of it, eh?
And it's haunting that these things don't all occur yet, but they're in the process, and we're all trying to help it come about, the betterness of everything.
So Bill, there's a question in the chat, which is, could I ask you to talk a little about the methods, ethics behind Blue Ointment, and if there are any contemporary presses in Vancouver or elsewhere that you see as doing similarly experimental and political work? And that's from Fred.
Oh, wow. Hi, excellent. There's always amazing work going on everywhere, always. The amazement never stops. It keeps going. And I've always believed in that. There's people everywhere doing astonishing new work and work that builds us up, lifts us, and explains more to us, and it's just like totally amazing. Yes. That's sort of the best answer I can say. I just know there's all kinds of wonderful people doing stuff all the time, you know? And the time when I was part of that in publishing Blue Ointment Press, that's a very long time ago. And then there was Blue Ointment Press, Tish, Anurka. There was Writers' Forum in London, England. There were magazines in Spain, France, Brazil, Japan. There are magazines all over the world, and there still are. And everyone sees Noir-Z in Toronto is picking up a lot of work in the concrete visual area from amazing artists all over the world are sending into Noir-Z. And Noir-Z is specializing in doing very small runs of books, and they're brilliantly artfully done, and they're doing the same work that we were doing before and continuing and moving it further and so on like that, using language when it isn't only based on the recipes of meaning.
Fantastic. There's also a question from Erin, which is,
Hey,
how do you make decisions around the kind of flow from speaking to singing in performance?
the way I did the reading this morning, creating sort of flow between the poems with sound poetry or singing between the poems, came to me last night actually, how to do that. And I thought that might be very adaptable to the Zoom experience, because there wouldn't be long pauses with nothing going on, which is more better for reading with an audience in one room, because you can improv stuff in front of people and get the feedback from them. And so I thought, I'm getting feedback from all of you. I really am. I'm feeling what you're feeling. So it's not, this doesn't have feedback, but I thought if I started with on days when everyone seems wrong, and then did some other stuff and sound stuff throughout the whole reading, it would kind of link things together. And
Fantastic.
that came to me last night. Just in time. I found you just in time.
I love that song. There's another question on here, which is, sorry, I've got this, I think it's the same, Colin. Have any poets, or which poets have inspired you and the way you see the world?
Oh, everyone I've ever read has inspired me. I was in the hospital for about 2 years, a little bit off and on, but it took about 2 years when I was, I think 9 and 10-ish, something of those 2 years, I think. And I had 12 surgeries on my abdomen. And I was going to be a dancer and a figure skater and play hockey. Those were the things I was, hey, excellent, dude. That's the things I was actually going to do. And then I had so many surgeries that I could be a dancer, but I wouldn't be able to hold up another dancer. And a lot of the jumps I wouldn't actually be able to do without messing up the surgeries inside. And so then I was in an oxygen tent one day, and this actually happened. And I thought, I'm going to be a writer, because that way I can feel the letters and the words going through space. And I'll be an artist as well. And I can feel the line moving through space, because that's what I liked about dancing and figure skating, was feeling the line of the body can make and how it changes, making the line moving through space. So then when I got out of the hospital and stuff, I couldn't go to school for a while or do anything. And so I started reading a lot of books. And the first sound poetry I ever heard was a recording by Edith Sitwell called Facade, which is a huge sound poetry work that she made. And I was astonished and deeply excited. I mean, hugely excited. And I wanted to be part then of that world. So then by then I was about 15, 16, maybe coming into, and I read a huge amount of books, and I heard a huge amount of recordings of poets reading, and it was an amazing time for me. And they were all very exciting to me. That's when I first heard Allen Ginsberg read. I had a recording, and I read Howl when I was like 16. And On the Road, Jack Kerouac. Subterraneans I loved so much as well. And Marion Moore, Diane de Prima, This Kind of Bird Flies Backwards, Michael McClure, who recently passed, went to Spirit, and so many people. Eliot, I loved Eliot's work, but my favorite was maybe Hart Crane. I could identify with him because his work is very, very opaque seeming, but when you get into it, it's like totally clear. And he was sort of a hero to me, and I actually thought that I was a reincarnation of him for quite a while when I read The Bridge, but that's jumping years later when I was at UBC. And that's So it's like I read everyone for a very long time. And then I was reading people to put them in Blue Ointment Press, so I was still reading.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing to hear. I didn't, the Sitwell facade influence is so interesting. I love that book as well. It's, we teach it.
Oh, great. Oh, excellent. Yes, yes, yes.
There is another question on.
Does anyone remember Donovan's song, and then came the hurdy-gurdy man singing songs of love? The syntax there is so similar to some of the work that Edith Sitwell does in Facade. So there's a certain kind of iambic something something that is not exactly iambic, but something something that keeps reoccurring in all our brains and our organs, because it pulls us in that kind of rhythm to the narratives and the unnarratives and the yes-matics of what we're doing. And I can't believe that we're all not traveling right now. Does anyone find like a sense of disbelief to be not going somewhere, like another city or country? It's just unreal, isn't it? It's like, if only there weren't so much tragedies around it, it would be like it'd be like a strange interlude, wouldn't it? Remember those big movies they used to make that were 5 hours long, and then there would be an intermission, or they called them interludes? Then you go get the popcorn, go to the bathroom and stuff. And it would be that would be sort of like this, in a way, wouldn't it? Although not exactly, but
there's a request, which might be a lovely way to kind of round things off if you were willing to, which is the brilliant poet Tim Atkins in the chat, who wrote the introduction, of course, to this book, has requested a poem, which is on page 486, and it's The Dangers of Melting. I don't know if you would be happy to read that poem, but if you are, then...
What is it, 48 what?
486.
Oh, okay. Oh my God, it's right here. And there's a drawing underneath it, which is the same as the t-shirt I'm wearing. I found this morning too. Isn't that bizarre? Excellent, Bubba. Excellent. Can I have a swig of water?
Of course.
So is everyone in a nice home, a nice place? Oh, good. I'm glad.
We are. I am. And there's trees budding. There's all the trees are just coming into leaf here, which is nice.
Wow, excellent, excellent. Yes, the buds just came out here a few days ago. I can't believe it. I've been here since early March. I haven't been anywhere this long for, Adina, what do you think? 3 years? Like 3 months in one place? It's unbelievable. You haven't been 3 months in one place either, have you?
Never. We've never been this
Oh,
long.
we never counted on that. We didn't plan for that.
May it change soon, please. We need to
It's
get
very amazing, isn't it? Oh, it's very amazing. It's a kind of strange contentment some nights when it isn't barraging with neuro restlessness and neuro what the fuckness, you know. There's a strange contentment. I'm somewhere that it's very beautiful, so that's lucky, and I didn't plan for it. Maybe that's a good idea, because plans don't always work. So how about an unplanned?
Yes, Maddox.
Yes, Maddox all the way. The dangers of melting. The other night, Mr. Ice Cream came over and he told us many stories about melting, the tragedies of too much fluidity. We listened attentively while we licked him. Soon my bandages would fall off, and then I could go swimming in yogurt, though I couldn't eat dairy. Kilometers to go still, a hug or two from the bliss of self-fulfillment. Do you like the way to your way? What did Mr. Ice Cream really say? Whoosh, whoosh, Arlundu, is what I heard Mr. Ice Cream say. We are all part of each other. When we hurt someone, we hurt ourselves. We are all part of each other in an endless tapestry. Tapas in a tree, tapas in a tree, tapas in a tree, tapas in a tree. There's something in this poem that's very Wallace Stevens, who was a very big influence on me at one time. And also when Adina and me were reading, Adina Karasik and me were reading in Barcelona, we had 3 magic days there. And that's when I first ate a lot of tapas. And without the Barcelona experience, that wouldn't have entered this poem. I wouldn't have known to put tapas in a tree and take it from tapestry. Take it from the tapestry, tapas in a tree. Take it from a tapestry, take it from me. Tapas in a tree. Remember that pouring rain in Barcelona that day, Adina? You were gonna go shopping and you wanted to shop by yourself, very cool. And then I was gonna do whatever, very cool. And then we're gonna meet after. And then this pouring rain came. We were on a streetcar then, I think. And so it was like we were drenched. Everyone, and we were the drenched was drenched. The drenching of us was more drenching continually. And then we went somewhere, didn't we? And
Picasso Museum. I think we went to the Picasso Museum.
Yes, yes. Wasn't that a most outrageous, outstanding day?
It was
It was
so
brilliant.
all the rain pouring in.
Yes, the sweet rain pouring in. Yes, yes. I remember on the beach, you were working on what was then your new book, and I was working on what then was my new book to come as well. And we got these chairs, and we were just sitting on the Mediterranean. I was thinking about Rimbaud because he had gone over the Mediterranean and stuff, and we're just thinking about everything, and we're both writing our own books, and in the amazing sunshine. And then when we left there was a spontaneous outpouring among the people somehow of Zorba the Greek, the music from Zorba the Greek. And there was about 500 of us suddenly spontaneously dancing.
Is it good?
Wasn't that amazing?
If anybody's interested, I have photos of all of this stuff on my Facebook. If you go to albums, there's like a Euro tour or something. But what year was it?
What year was it?
Bill and Adina Euro tour.
2011.
Yeah.
I think.
So there's some great photos of him from that time. I want to go to Europa with you.
I know.
Now.
I know.
Fantastic.
We will soon. Everything's gonna be okay soon.
It will.
I wish. I hope. I pray it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bill. This was just wonderful to hear your responses and your readings. That reading you gave at the start, what an experience that was, just amazing. So thank you so much for doing this from everyone.
Thanks for asking. And thank you everybody for being here. I love you all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bill.
Thank
You
you.
Bill.
Love you
Love to
too.
you. Love to all of us. Love to you and to everybody.
Have a
Stay
great,
well.
awesome day and
Love to
everybody
you and Boo Boo.
Okay, excellent. Oh, he's ready to eat again. I am too. This could be lunchtime. This is
Take care. Take care.
Okay.
Love you,
Excellent.
baby.
Bye,
I
Bill.
love you, baby.
Bye.
See you
Love
soon,
you.
everyone. I love you all. Thanks for coming. I
Thank
love
you,
it so much.
man.
I'm with
See
you.
you in
Love
the
you,
topic.
Bill.
Thank you, Bill.
Love you, Bill. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye, Bill.
Bye. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Oh, thanks.
Bill.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Shelley. Thanks, Ellen. Thanks, James.
Thank you. Thanks,
Adina.
Colin. Thank you, Colin, for arranging all this too.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. It was a brilliant time.
Oh, great.
I love the lines moving through space. That's lovely.
Excellent. I'm so glad you got to see all the new paintings I've been doing.
Yeah,
Oh,
Great. Okay.
there you are.
they're beautiful.
They look
Yeah,
awesome.
They made the
Amazing.
poem stand out. Yeah.
Huh?
So they
Yeah.
made the poem stand out. The pictures in the background help
Oh, great. Oh, terrific. I'm
the
glad.
poem.
Excellent.
Okay.
That was as high as I could reach. But I'll get a chair next time. I'll get them up to the ceiling, maybe.
Okay.
Have a beautiful day, sweet people, sweet friends. Everyone have the
Fantastic.
best ever.
You too.
Thank
Take care.
You too, Bill. You too.
you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye bye.
I